All right, we're coming in hot with a Q&A episode. Let's do it. You know, these are some of my faves. If you didn't know, you could submit a question for the podcast in a form we'll put in the show notes, and you could potentially get it answered on the show. That is what we're doing today. So also, before we get into that, I keep forgetting to talk about this on the podcast. Two things you need to know about. Number one, we have our holiday gift guide. So if you're still shopping and you need some ideas, whether it's for her, for him, for new moms, for kids, for babies, stocking stuffers, for the wellness nut, like we have so many amazing options on there. Obviously, any discount codes I have for anything are listed. I don't have discount codes for everything on there, but for some of them I do. So you make sure you get, as many sales as you can get. But it's all in Shop My. You can easily click it and go. Love it. So easy. So we'll put that in the show notes. That's number one. Number two is you're trying to conceive Lifeline. Oh my God, this is so good. If you're trying to conceive right now and you feel like, especially around this time of year, that it's really hard for you to navigate your 2-week wait, to see people announcing pregnancies that are like going to be in May or in June. You're like, oh my God. And they're in front of the Christmas tree or whatever. Like so many more announcements come out around this time of year. Or you're going to your holidays and people are asking you about it, and maybe you got invited to a baby shower and your 2-week wait just seems even harder. Like it is these moments that I know with my clients are the hardest for them to navigate, which is why I created this for them, but I'm selling it separately, where it's called You're Trying to Conceive Lifeline, and it's your on-demand audios that takes you from dysregulated and spiraling when you are in these moments, the 2-week wait, seeing a pregnancy announcement, going to baby shower, all these things, to grounded in minutes so that you can have something like a podcast like that. Literally, it's like, if you love the podcast, you're going to love this. You put in your headphones, you press play, and you have like an activation from me, helping you walk through the emotions you're feeling, validating yourself in them, not bypassing them, processing them, and then release them on the other side. And by the time you finish the audio, you feel so peaceful and grounded, and you're able to walk through your day with more ease and not harbor so much of that dysregulation and that resentment and those energetic blocks that could be obviously negatively impacting how you feel every day, but also your fertility. It is literally going to be your Trying to Conceive Bible, your Trying to Conceive Lifeline, like piece in your pocket. I'm so excited for you to get access to this. So I'll put that in the show notes for you as well. Okay, so today we're going through 2 questions. They're kind of similar. It might not sound it from the questions, but with my brain, they're similar. So here we go. The first question is from Andrea or Andrea. I don't know how you pronounce it. Probably Andrea. Okay. Around cycle day 23, I get the heaviest boobs, sore, feels like I'm pregnant. It goes away when my period starts. It started a few months ago and it's like clockwork every cycle. What could that be? First of all, I just want to acknowledge that that's probably so hard to feel like pregnancy symptoms when you're trying to conceive and then it not pan out for you being pregnant. So that's just so emotionally difficult. So I just want to validate you and send you love for that, because that's really, really hard. Now, this is classic excess estrogen signs. Classic excess estrogen sign. There could be some thyroid things going on with it as well. But the heavy boobs, sore boobs, even you didn't say these, but for people listening, PMS, any PMS symptoms too, like mood swings, things like that. Sore boobs are obviously one of the biggest signs of pregnancy too in your luteal phase, but they're also just a sign of PMS and of excess estrogen, which is really hard for a lot of women who are trying, because they're looking for those signs of pregnancy. But if you have that excess estrogen in relation to your progesterone levels and you're going to have these sore, heavy boobs, it is not a sign of pregnancy. It's just a sign that your estrogen is not being properly detoxified and excreted out of your body. Okay, so that's what that could be from. Obviously, I would need to know a little bit more other symptoms, what your cycle is like, all of these things, but it's happening like clockwork. That's definitely part of the issue. Now, like I always talk about, the root cause of this issue is not excess estrogen, right? It's what's causing the excess estrogen, because we have to get down to the root cause of this. So the answer isn't, okay, so how do I just lower estrogen? That's not the problem. We need to go down to, well, why is my estrogen not being properly produced or not being properly excreted, which is likely your issue, out of my body, right? And how this is affecting pregnancy is when your estrogen is too high in relation to progesterone, that means that instead of going out of the body, it's recirculating back in the body, causing you to have these symptoms. And this can, of course, impact your fertility, because we want to have a nice ratio between estrogen and progesterone. We don't want estrogen to be too high and progesterone to be too low in relation to each other, because they work in relation to each other. right? So that's really, really important. And this could also signal like there could be other things that are happening where there's a gut issue. A lot of times when you are having excess estrogen that's not being properly extruded out of the body, it's because your gut is compromised and your gut isn't able to actually poop it out, to actually move it out. There could be your bacteria could be off. There could be other things obviously happening in your gut, inflammation, and or your liver could also be overburdened and not properly processing and metabolizing your hormones and moving it onto the gut. So it's a two-part thing. Your liver is what processes and metabolizes any excess hormones, toxins, and metabolic waste in the body, including this estrogen that I'm talking about. Then it moves it onto the gut, and it's the gut's job to get it out of the body through your poop. So you can have a breakdown in both or one of these areas, okay? So that is why I'm always working on all these systems in your body. And in the Mind Your Hormones method, we work on your liver and your gut, as well as your nervous system, your blood sugar regulation, your inflammation, and it's in a very strategic order for maximum success. So this is what that could be coming from. Now, I'm going to give you exact things that you could do to help support this, but I'm going to first read the next question because the tips are the same for both of your questions, even though they're very different, but I'm going to explain to you why. So first I'm going to read the next question and go over that. And then the tips are going to be for both of you because you both have similar issues in a different way. And I'll explain it. So, but that's where it's coming from, Andrea. Okay. Now, Elizabeth asked the next question is, what would you recommend to a 39-year-old woman with existing fibroids who has been trying to get pregnant for 4 years? Doctors say fibroids are in the way of implantation. Okay. So first of all, Elizabeth, I'm sending you so much love. 4 years. I could only imagine how difficult that has been for you to be navigating that for such a long time. And I don't want to dismiss that in this question. So just know that you're not alone and that I'm, sending you so much love and strength and that you're so resilient and committed and dedicated and like capable. Just the resilience you have to keep trying is absolutely incredible. So I hope you're giving yourself credit for that. Now, the doctors say fibroids are in the way of implantation. You didn't give me any like details on the size of the fibroids, what type of fibroids. There are different types of fibroids that is going to give different severity levels of things, also different sizes. Sometimes they're extremely large that with natural, solutions won't shrink them all the way. They might shrink them a little bit, but not small enough to help with pregnancy. If the fibroid is small to medium, we could definitely do work to naturally get them totally gone or small enough where it's not an issue for pregnancy, depending on what type of fibroid it is and depending on how big it is. I have worked with clients who have had fibroids where they completely went away and everything was fine. But if yours are really, really big, that you might need to do other measures, and natural ways might not shrink it as much as it needs to for pregnancy to be viable. Okay. So it just completely depends on the type of fibroid that it is and the size that it is. I'm going to answer this question as if it is like small to medium and the things that I would help a client with to help naturally reduce them in the best way possible. Okay. Now, the reason why this answer is going to be similar to what I would say to Andrea is because for your, like with fibroids, we really want to work on estrogen secretion, right? Which is same thing we're working on with Andrea. Okay. So this is also why I'm going to say this till fucking beat a dead fucking horse. The Mind Your Hormones method, it literally I created it for this exact reason, because whether you have fibroids, whether you have sore boobs, whether you have whatever else, it's always going to go back to the systems in your body that are actually impacting your hormones and causing these things to happen. These systems in your body have to be properly supported. This is how fibroids shrink. This is how you properly get estrogen out of your body so that you don't have the sore boobs and that so your estrogen and progesterone are in healthy ratios for a healthy pregnancy. This is how you get rid of cramps, your headaches. This is how you regulate your period. This is how we do all of it, because you're optimizing the systems in your body that impact every single hormone that you have that have to be optimized for you to have optimal health, period, point, fucking blank, done and done. Okay. So anyway, to work on estrogen secretion for the fibroids, gut and liver support is really important. So this is for you, Andrea, and for Elizabeth, and anyone else who's dealing with any fucking hormonal balance. Okay. Gut and liver support is essential. So for liver support, cruciferous vegetables are helpful. Obviously, I'm just giving you a few tips, right? Like this is not everything that I recommend. Also, I would be giving it to you in a very specific order based on where you're at, based on your current lifestyle, right? Like Obviously, again, the Mind Your Hormones method is laid out in a very specific order. I would highly recommend this, Elizabeth, for you with fibroids. I've helped women with fibroids through this method. I've also helped with that 39-year-old client who their doctor told them IVF was the only way. She got naturally pregnant. She has maybe her baby is like a little close to Madison's age at this point. Anyway, it's obviously possible. I don't know the specifics of your fibroids though, but this is what I would recommend to help shrink and reduce them no matter what the size. Okay. So I'll put the link for the Mind Your Hormones method in the show notes. You could use code podcast for 10% off. Okay. Anyway, estrogen secretion. So gut and liver. Things that help your liver, obviously, like no alcohol. Like, of course, alcohol puts a burden on your liver. When we are wanting to optimize our hormones and optimize our hormone secretion, we want to take the burden off our liver as much as possible, because the less that our liver has to do, the more it's going to be able to process our hormones. Our hormones are not life-threatening. Alcohol is. It's literally a poison in your body. Toxins from products, beauty products, household cleaning products, whatever, they are life-threatening. They view these as more life-threatening because they are, right? It's like poison in our body. So your liver is going to prioritize that. So if you're having a lot of alcohol, if you are using products, whether it's household cleaning products, beauty products, whatever it is, that are, non-toxic, right? No, that are not non-toxic, right? That are conventional, have toxins in them, your liver is going to be like, okay, we got to get this shit out. Like we got to really work on this. Those excess estrogen hormones, that shit can wait because it's not life-threatening. So we want to take the burden off the liver. So totally removing your alcohol, ideally, switching over your products, have a totally free pregnancy safe product guide. It's all in ShopMy, super easy to navigate. It's totally free. I'll put that in the show notes. Whenever a product of yours runs out, switch it over, right? If you're like, I switched most of them, but like I still have like my favorite perfume or like my favorite MAC lipstick, it's all gotta go, okay? You gotta switch them out. Those, and also reducing your pesticide exposure as much as possible. Buying organic, especially for the Dirty Dozen, especially for any animal products. Obviously, when you're going out to eat, it is what it is, right? But maybe you're going out to eat like 3 to 4 times a week. Let's reduce that. Let's do as much as we can to support and control what we can control without going crazy, and being like super restrictive. So those 3 things are really important. Other things that are helpful for liver support: warm lemon water in the morning. This is one of the things that I always recommend having every single morning. Warm lemon water. Lemon is really awesome for liver detoxification, also stimulates digestion, which is very helpful. So if you're not doing your warm lemon water in the morning, highly recommend. Like a quarter to a half of a fresh lemon squeezed in warm filtered water that you heated up on a tea kettle, on the stove, not in a fucking microwave, okay? And then cruciferous vegetables, really helpful for liver detoxification. Cooked, always cooked, having at least 1 serving of these every single day. Broccoli, kale, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, collard greens. I missed something though. Broccoli, kale, cauliflower. Awesome. You could put cooked rice cauliflower, like frozen rice cauliflower in your smoothie. I do that every single time I make a smoothie. Such an easy way to get cruciferous vegetables in, right? Again, and then eating cooked broccoli, kale, Brussels sprouts, whatever, like once a day at least. Okay, that's gonna be really helpful. Always cooked for digestion and everything. So that's for liver support. Now, to help with your gut support, to help make sure that we are secreting this, actually, like, right, we're working on your liver. It's going to process and metabolize all of that. Now we want to move that onto the gut, and we want the gut to be able to get it out of the body. We have to make sure you are pooping consistently. You're pooping regularly. You're pooping completely, right? We're not constipated. We don't have diarrhea. Like, we're having good poops. There's so much that obviously goes into this. There's a whole module in the Mind Your Hormones method on gut health. But one thing that's going to be really helpful for that is obviously the warm lemon water. That's going to help support that too. But also the Miracle Worker Magnesium, highly recommend taking that from Gut Personal. It's really, really supportive for your gut and for helping you poop regularly. So that is one supplement I would definitely recommend for this. There's definitely other supplements I'd recommend too. That's all in the supplement masterclass. You could get the supplement masterclass on its own. You could also get it in the Mind Your Hormones method. So I'll put both below and you could decide whatever you want to do. But that's what I would recommend. Also for gut support, which kind of goes hand in hand with reducing inflammation. Again, this is for Andrea too, with your heavy boobs and stuff. Really having mostly plant-based foods to reduce inflammation, not have inflammatory foods, right? Not have inflammatory sugars, and just honestly, mostly plants. Those are the most anti-inflammatory foods you can be eating. Increasing your plant-based foods is going to be very, very helpful. And taking an omega-3. Omega-3s are going to be really helpful for the fibroids, also for the excess estrogen that Andrea, you're experiencing, just reducing inflammation in general. So I would definitely recommend Omega. I like the kneaded one. That's my favorite. They have a plant-based one, like they have a algae-based one. They also have a fish-based one, whichever one you want to do. I personally do the plant-based one. We could put that in the show notes for you. I have a code for you for a discount, so we'll put that down there too. But those are the two things for gut and liver, right? Those are just like a few things that I would be focusing on. Also, regulating blood sugar is going to be very helpful for supporting the reduction of fibroids. What a shock. I talk about regulating blood sugar all the time. Obviously, this is a module in the Mind Your Hormones method. I also have a completely separate program strictly for balancing blood sugar. You could also check out as well. But the biggest thing for this, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but one thing that you could be really prioritizing is making sure you're having protein, fiber, and healthy fat with every single meal. And not skipping meals, not going hours between meals is really, really important for your blood sugar regulation. I have a free training on that too. I have so many things we're linking in the show notes, but I have a free training on that too you could check out. This is also why, like, first of all, I love putting out this content. I love giving free value so it's accessible for you. But this is also why I created the Mind Your Hormones method. Because when you're hearing so many different things like this, it can be overwhelming. It can be too much. And you're like, fuck, writing all this down. What do I do first? How does it? And you could start spiraling and then you could dysregulate your nervous system, which is going to make things worse. This is literally why I created the course, so that you have step by step exactly what to do in a very action oriented, like not slow, but consistent pace, so that you can open up your computer, watch the first training. Okay, go do action and literally write out, go do this and this. Okay, now that's consistent. Come back, watch the next training. Now do this. Once you're consistent with that, go do this. Like, it's so easily able to be followed. And that is for a reason. First of all, to get you the best results, but also so that you feel regulated throughout the process and you don't feel like you have to do so many different things all at once and it's overwhelming. So I love doing these episodes and giving you all these tips, but a part of me is like, I know it could be overwhelming for people, but if that's how you're feeling, then just join the Mind Your Hormones method. Like, truly, that is what obviously my number one recommendation. Okay. Okay. Then speaking of nervous system, I would also be prioritizing your nervous system regulation. This is also a module in the Mind Your Hormones method. Supporting and reducing your stress, because that can impact inflammation, which could exacerbate your fibroids, right? We want to reduce inflammation, and lowering your stress is going to help reduce inflammation. And that's going to help lower your fibroids. That's also, Andrew, going to help with your estrogen production as well. So yoga and Pilates, meditation, walking in silence, journaling. I mean, there's so many different things you could do for nervous system regulation, depending on where you're at and what works best for you. But reducing stress when possible, setting boundaries, saying no to certain things, seeing, are you over consuming content? Again, another reason, like I just said, this is why I created the course. So you're not constantly feeling like you need to scroll, listen to the podcast or whatever. Like, those are things I would be thinking about. Acupuncture could also be extremely helpful for this. So what I will say is herbs alone will not do anything. Herbs alone are not going to do anything for helping reduce your fibroids. One thing alone is not going to do anything for helping reduce fibroids or to help with your estrogen secretion, Andrew, or anything that anyone here is listening to is dealing with. We have to be looking at the body as a whole. What can I do to optimize these systems in my body that are directly impacting every single hormone I have, from a food and nutrition perspective to a lifestyle perspective and supplementally, and mentally and emotionally. It all goes together. It's all extremely important. So follow these suggestions that I recommended for you. You could go back, write them down. It's so important. Obviously, if you're just like, okay, fuck this, I just want to get in the course. Like, I just want to know exactly what to do. Open my computer and here it is. Go to the Mind Your Hormones method. That's in the show notes. You can use code podcast for 10% off. But I also love obviously sharing this here for you because I want things to be as accessible as possible. But if you're just like done and you're like, okay, I'm ready for the big guns, that's when you go to the Mind Your Hormones method. But it is possible to shrink and reduce them. Again, I don't know the size or the type of fibroids you have, but these are things that I would be prioritizing if that is your situation. And same thing for you, Andrea, to really help with that estrogen secretion, to get rid of those symptoms so that it's not like triggering you every time you're in a luteal phase, thinking that you're pregnant if you're not. Okay. And again, if it's just like sore boobs, some sore boobs could be a little bit normal, but it says you feel like the heaviest boobs really sore, like we really want to work on that estrogen secretion. Also, like for gut health support, if your gut is real jacked up, I would definitely recommend gut personal stool test. That's going to be major for really overhauling your gut. So that's like, I would do that though. I always tell my clients, go through the Mind Your Hormones method for a solid 3 months. And then if your gut is still like needing a little love, then I recommend the stool test. I wouldn't just like jump right into that personally. Okay. I love you so much. I'm so grateful you're part of this community. Thank you for submitting your questions. Everything I talked about today will be linked in the show notes. The free non-toxic product guide, the Trying to Conceive Lifeline, the holiday gift guide, obviously the Mind Your Hormones method. I'll put all of that in the show notes. The supplements we talked about, everything will be there. So just check them out. If you have any questions, obviously message me. And we'll also put the link for submitting a question for the show in the show notes as well. I love you so much. Thank you for being here, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for being here. If you loved this episode and learned something valuable, please share it with a friend who you think would also love it, or post it on social media and tag me so I could personally say thank you for helping me spread this important message. I am beyond grateful to be here with you. So until next time, stay intentional, stay consistent, and always mind your hormones.